Hello everybody, my name is Destiny Khalil and this is my video response to the Mr. Burns prompts. So for the first question, I said the first thing I noticed when reading this play was it was a little hard to follow along. I think that was mainly because of the idea that we found out that the world had just ended later on in the play rather than in the beginning. So the play had just kind of started right in the middle of everything happening. So it was kind of hard to put everything together. I remember I had to reread it a second time to piece everything together, knowing that I knew that the world had just ended. So it was kind of confusing to follow along at first, but then it all started adding up and making sense. I also realized that the play was kind of like a game of survival because, you know, the group of people had just survived the world ending, so and they were all like working together as a group to remember things and get life back to how it used to be. So I kind of made that, similarity. And then I also found it interesting that out of all the episodes of The Simpsons, the writer chose Cape Fear, and then I actually looked it up, and I will discuss that in the third question. So that's also something that caught my attention because it was just why Cape Fear, and I found out why. So that's later on. But yeah, and then the second question is, I think one value being represented in this play is determination and perseverance. In the beginning of the play, there was a conversation going on in Act 1 between Matt and Jenny trying to remember what happened in the Cape Fear episode of The Simpsons. However, the character Maria was not as familiar with the show and or episode, but she was trying her best to help and remember what was going on. I said I feel like that speaks volume to the characters because despite the circumstances, they were all remaining calm and collected, and they were trying their best to remember as possible and really working as a team. You can tell that there were times of frustration at first, obviously, but they were determined to figure this out and get through it. You can tell that there was a lot of eager to remember things as much as possible just by the way they were talking, and that they really did not want to give up. And then I said another value being represented was hope. I said throughout the play the characters tried to be as optimistic, I feel like, as possible. They even started to perform their own entertainment to make it feel like home and that not everything was going down to hell, basically. I said the entertainment was obviously reenacting different episodes of The Simpsons. I said I feel like that was an important value because it shows up regardless what was happening. They tried to shed light on bad things going on. And then I said that it also helped me understand the genre of this play better, considering that it was kind of dark. They did cope with entertainment and made it fun and funny in a sense, which is the theme slash genre, or not theme, the genre of the play, which is dark humor. And then 3, something that I looked up was actually why they used the Cape Fear episode. So not why they used it, but what happened in the Cape Fear. So I never really watched The Simpsons, so I looked up that episode, and I read that it was one of the darkest episodes of The Simpsons. And I said that this made sense because of the genre of Mr. Burns. It is dark comedy. So it made sense as to why the characters were looking into the episode first, this episode, because the tone of the play, although it was optimistic, they were trying to help each other and get out of the situation, it was still kind of dark and dull, and it fit the situation and tone, you could say, of the play perfectly, because the tone of that episode was very dark. It was one of the darkest episodes of The Simpsons, so I made that comparison as well. Question 4 is, I think Mr. Burns thinks that the value of theater and even the value of television is something that is super important. I said that he thinks that theater can be created out of nothing as long as you have actors and an audience. We found out in the play that there was no electronics and or social media, which in hindsight means that there really is not much entertainment. I said the survivors of the play end up performing their own acts and episodes of The Simpsons really out of nothing because the world had just ended. I said that really shed light on the whole aspects of theater and how it can really be created out of nothing, but turn it into something big because that was their source of entertainment, And then I said it also goes back to the idea of the value of television because although they did not have TV, they created their own entertainment, which people ended up liking and watching and paying for. Number 5, I said, I think humans are compelled to tell stories because it sparks memories. When people tell stories, it makes them not only remember more in certain details, they also develop a deeper emotional connection once they reiterate their stories. It also helps the person comprehend more of what is going on and really sit back and reflect on what happened rather than just living it and moving on. I said also retelling stories helps the mind remember certain details you may have not remembered before, which takes me on to the next question on what storytelling does to the characters in the play. I said I feel like once the characters start retelling their stories, it sparks memories and help them remember specific things throughout their lives that they completely had forgotten. And then number 6, my 2 questions I would like to pose to you guys are, why do you think the writer of this play chose to reenact The Simpsons out of the shows? Out of all the shows that there are, why do you think the writer chose The Simpsons? And then also we find out that the play fast forwarded 7 years and then 75 years later after that. Do you guys think that there was any significance to those numbers, or do you think it was just, hey, like 7 years and then 75 years? I don't know, I feel like there's always a meaning to everything, especially in plays, so that kind of made me curious. But yeah, thank you guys.